Well, as we continue with the broadcast this morning, and once again, our focus is going to be on the martyrdom and the killing with impunity of Palestinian journalists. And during the week on Wednesday night, African journalists against the genocide have actually come together, and we're seeing right across the entire African continent once again highlighting the plight of journalists and. Before we get to Yumna Al Said, and she's put out a piece on social media paying tribute to someone that is very, very close to her, Mariam Abu Daka. And I must say, very emotional. It's very, very sad, but also at the same time, we pay tribute to their bravery, to their courage, to their boldness as well. And none other than Yumna Al Said would actually understand what Mariam Abu Daka actually went through because she was so close to her. But before we get to Yumna, let's just take a quick listen to this very short clip.
Will never even fathom what heroism is, what selflessness is. Because journalists in Gaza are the bravest human beings alive. They know that their work is a death sentence because Israel openly hunts them and threatens to kill them. But they do it out of duty to their people. Not only out of duty to their people, but out of defiance to the world that ignores their suffering, gaslights them, denies their reality, and they do it regardless. And that's something that I don't think anyone can really wrap their mind around. It's unfathomable. It's incomprehensible.
Yes, that was the voice of Abby Martin, filmmaker and journalist as well. And it's time now to bring Yumna Al Said onto the broadcast. Sister Yumna, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, Jazakallah khairan so much. And it's just so good to see you, but also under circumstances that are very, very tragic for you.
Alaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me again on your show. I
Yes.
I wish the circumstances were better, but it's always from tragedy to another for Palestinians.
Yes, we've seen what had played out 2 weeks ago. Anas El Sharif and an entire group of journalists and media people that were basically wiped out as well. And now, paying tribute to someone very, very close to you, and really Mariam Abu Daka as well. And I think I can understand how you feel because personally, you've obviously been subjected to this in the clip. You know, journalists being hunted down, walking into a death trap, all that was Abby Martin had actually spoken about, and just spoke about how bold and how courageous Palestinian journalists have been in covering this genocide, and none better than you that would know better, Sister Yumna.
Well, of course, since day one, and not just during this genocide, but during all kind of wars and escalations of the Gaza Strip, the Israeli army has always chosen to put journalists as direct targets, to target them, to threaten their families, to target their families, to bomb their offices, to drive us and make us work under very inhumane and difficult conditions for any journalist to work in. We, as journalists, Palestinian journalists in Gaza, we work under this, or we take all these circumstances and life risks because we have no other choice. If we do not stand to show the world these crimes and these atrocities that Israel continues to commit against our people, against innocent civilians, against children and families in the Gaza Strip, no one else will actually be able to speak about all these inhumane conditions that the people live in Gaza. The atrocities will go unseen, unheard, and there will be no whatsoever accountability, even in the future. Although we don't see any accountability or impunity to Israel against all its crimes against us, but we still hope that justice will take place someday, and we are doing the role of documentation so that in the future no one has an excuse to say, oh, we did not know, we did not see, we did not hear, or there is no proof or evidence for these crimes.
Yes, and also I think what we tend to forget, and you've mentioned this in this clip, and where you make mention of Mariam Abu Daka, her relationship with her son, and we can actually relate to that. We can identify with that because this was a very strong message that you yourself had actually given, and left with no choice. And when you see, being a journalist, being a mother at the same time, your relationship with your children, seeing your children starving, seeing your children, thirsty. I mean, it's not easy, and at the same time, you're doing your job. So, in putting out this piece that you have out on social media, I see a lot in terms of what you've experienced that Mariam Abu Daka had gone through as well.
Each and every parent in Gaza, especially mothers, it's very difficult for us when we're mothers and we're journalists. It's unlike any other place in the world where at least we know that our children are in safe areas, safe zones, that they are not under bombs, they are not under targeting, they are not threatened because of us. And of course, the fact that thirst and hunger is not used as a weapon in these areas like anywhere else in the world where there are many wars ongoing. But in the Gaza Strip, everything is different. Everything is justified by Israel. And that's why it's very difficult to be a mother and a journalist in Gaza. We either choose to send our children out so that we can continue doing our roles as journalists, or we need to leave with them if we don't have the choice to send them out alone. And that was what I had to do because I had no choice of sending them out alone. I had to come out with them for them to leave the strip. Otherwise, they were not going to be able to leave the strip. In Miriam's case, may her soul rest in peace. She had the opportunity, thank God, to send Raif alone because his father was living abroad. So there was someone out there that she could send him to, and that hurt her very much as a mother. The fact that she was separated from her son, uh, but it was the pain of separation that she chose over the pain of him being unsafe, being hungry, being thirsty, or being subjected to any kind of targeting, bombardment, injury, and so on.
Yes, Yumna, it is clear that every life that has been taken away in Gaza, the thousands upon thousands, and those that have still not been uncovered, that lay under the rubble as well, has impacted, it has affected all of us. But I just want to spend a few minutes talking about Mariam Abu Daka in terms of why this has affected you so much.
Because I've just watched many of my colleagues and friends fall in Gaza one after another, get killed, and it just feels painful to know that someday when I return to Gaza, they will not be there anymore. Leaving them in the first place was very painful, but we lived on the hope that we would be reunited after this ends. And now it just seems that this reunion will never happen. There are so many times when I wanted to speak to Mariam, I wanted to speak to my other friends, to Anas, and so many of my other friends and colleagues who had fallen. But it's either because of the connections, a disruption, because of their ongoing work, and no time for them to rest, to sit and to talk, or simply because you don't know what to say to them anymore. Your words feel too shy, too small to express anything. I feel that it's a ridiculous question to ask them, how are you doing? When I know that they are unsafe, they are hungry, they are exhausted, they are thirsty, they are going through the worst of their lifetime. And that's what keeps you away from speaking to them regularly or chatting or feeling that you can share with them what you're going through because what they're going through is more than describable. We feel that our words don't have a meaning anymore. They don't carry a weight anymore. And then you just wake up to the news that they are gone. They no longer exist in this world. And it's just the worst feeling ever. I think about Maryam and I think about her son, Ghaith. I think about her family. I think about her father. I think about our friendship. I think about everything. And nothing is complete anymore. These pictures are no more complete because Maryam is no more in them.
Well, physically, we know she's no longer with us, and she's, inshallah, she definitely will be in the better world amongst the martyrs, which is our end, in terms of where we want to be ultimately when we leave this world. But also, I think what is important to understand is. Her words, your words, all the time you have been reporting, and all the other hundreds of Palestinian journalists who are there and those who have also been martyred, their words are carrying a lot of weight. Perhaps we don't see the results right now, but believe me, as I mentioned earlier on, there's a whole group of African journalists right across the entire continent that has now formed what is called African Journalists Against Genocide. And this movement is actually growing because this genocide has been horribly exposed. And thanks to a large extent with people like yourselves and the bravery and the courage that the Palestinian journalists have actually displayed through all this genocide.
Well, of course, the support and the solidarity and speaking out against these atrocities is very much needed from all journalists around the world. All these crimes cannot go and without accountability, without punity against the perpetrators of them. And these perpetrators are Israel. They are the government. They are the army. They are those Israeli soldiers who are committing these crimes. And unless the real support comes from other journalists, other colleagues around the world, we will go unheard and there will be no justice for all these Palestinian journalists who have paid their lives as a price for other journalists and for the entire world to be informed.
Yes, and just for an organization like Al Jazeera, and I'm sure it's taken a huge toll on Al Jazeera, and particularly losing. I think it's the one media organization that have lost basically the most amount of journalists and reporters and camera crew and everyone who is supportive of the media as well. Certainly, it has impacted on Al Jazeera, but again, as you mentioned, is that solidarity is needed from right across the entire world. Possibly, we may not get it from mainstream media. In the want of a better term, the likes of the big corporate media giants across the entire world, but on a scale where we have independent media, independent journalists who care about humanity, who care about what is happening to people within their own circles, within their own fraternity, it is a major concern. And hopefully, we will see a lot more noises being made, Yumna.
Of course, I mean, I believe that a network like Al Jazeera has really succeeded in being a voice for thousands of unvoiceless people, and it has successfully been able to capture audiences, not just in the East, in the Middle East, but also in the West, as it broadcasts with both English and Arabic. And it has depended on local journalists from the ground to be their correspondents and to be their storytellers. And that is what scares Israel the most from Al Jazeera. It has been able to reach to each and every home around the world where people have turned to Al Jazeera as an international mainstream media to get their news, especially in the Western world, because they know that Al Jazeera is broadcasting from inside the Gaza Strip, while Israel's battle against Al Jazeera continues, where it has banned Al Jazeera in Jerusalem from working or operating, and it has then banned Al Jazeera from operating in the West Bank and targeted many of Al Jazeera journalists, including myself, in the Gaza Strip. It has targeted our families. It has killed a great number of my Al Jazeera colleagues on the ground in Gaza. All these are continuous attempts to silence our voices and to break that flow, I'm sorry, flow of information and flow of reflection to the realities of what is happening in Gaza and what is happening through this genocide to the rest of the world. And as long as we keep standing, and that actually what Israel doesn't understand is that that actually motivates us more to continue with our journey, motivates us more to continue with our coverage, and motivates us more to continue documenting Israel's atrocities against the Palestinians and against the innocent people in the Gaza Strip.
Well, Jazakallah khairan for that, Sister Yumna, and also for your time. And as relentless as this genocide has been as well, together with yourself as well, there is support from right across the entire world. For us at Salam Media, we've taken the decision to be equally relentless in terms of our reporting, in terms of our coverage as well, to reach out to our audiences. And, you speak about Al Jazeera and its international presence. I'm just looking at a message that's come up on screen: Free Palestine, Kiwis for Palestine. So we've got people out of New Zealand that are also listening to us this morning, and we get this all the time. So inshallah, we will still continue. We have to do what we must do. We need to stand up. We need to speak truth to power, and we will continue, inshallah. But also looking forward to you coming to South Africa, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for all the amazing work that you do and for amplifying Palestinian voices and for continuing to call for justice and for a free Palestine and for the ending of this genocide.
Please take care, Yumna. All the best to you, to Salah, to the family, to your lovely children as well, inshallah. Inshallah, we look forward to meeting up with you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Youmna Said, renowned Al Jazeera journalist, with us this morning. And it's just been shock and grief, and particularly when you start seeing your colleagues falling, being martyred as well. And this highly emotive piece that she had actually put up on Mariam Abu Taka, who has been one of the latest of someone who has been very, very close to her as well. And this is the reason why we spoke to Yumna also this morning. But we're still going to be staying with Palestine, and we're going to be talking about an event taking place, the Back to Ethics Community Day, and there's a peace walk and a panel that's a panel discussion, very, very high powered people as well. And this morning we'll be talking with an educator, activist, entrepreneur, and part of the organizers of the Back to Ethics initiative, Farida Musa.